So we put two massive super sturdy L brackets, and now we have plenty of space to just nicely arrange travel cases in there. Ultimats to be connected to Ethernet, you do need partners. You have to be obsessed. The light reaches the wall. Welcome back to the virtual production build series. I know that walk-in was a bit cringe, but hey, we needed an intro. In this episode, we'll talk about everything that we've done in here related to painting, decorating, assembling, putting together the shelving in the kit room, and everything in between. With the paint, the color scheme of the studio had a bit of a back and forth with myself on what to do. Initially, the thought was fully white, but then I quickly realized that that's a bit of a problem because white bounces a lot. Known fact that in a studio, if you have a white studio and you have lights in it, it will bounce like crazy. The second issue with having white in a green stage cove, is that you are flooding the room with more green, basically green fill and flood from more direction than needed. The second thought was, let's do it black, a blacked out studio. But also the studio is really quite dark. So I decided that it's going to be a bit of a mix. I wanted to go for more of a industrial look. Here are the dried up colors. So definitely not the green one. I don't like the green one at all. It's kind of like between this that I have at home, which is like this dark blue color, or this dark gray. To be honest, right now I'm more inclined towards the dark blue, to be fair. I think it looks better. We got the flooring done. There was parquet in here, so we had to cover that up. Now, there's also a limitation of the things that I can do in here, because once we grow and we decide we need to move to a bigger place, I need to hand this over back in its original form. For that reason, I had to get vinyl flooring in for this production area here, instead of stuff like poured raisin. I think it's raisin, but I mean, someone will correct me in the comments for sure. Right, so decided to do vinyl flooring. It has this nice kind of cementy concrete texture, and is a color that's a bit more neutral. So it is gray. Gray is in between black and white, means that it doesn't bounce light like crazy, but it also doesn't absorb it. Today, the flooring is getting installed. We have some vinyl. It's getting installed all the way to that line there, because on that side, that's where the stage is going to be. We have the plywood that goes on the bottom, and then the vinyl, and it should be pretty solid. Everything's going to be leveled quite nicely when you walk on it. And when you're moving equipment around, if you have any dolly or rickshaw or things like that, it's going to be super smooth. So yeah, looking forward to see it done. Other than that, we left the ceiling white. We left some of the walls, the side walls white as well, just to balance things out and not make it extremely, extremely dark. With that, there was this kitchenette, this office kitchenette that was already here, and I wanted to keep it because it's very useful to have a kitchen in the studio, so you can have tap water, a fridge, and everything that's in the kitchen. But it was white on that dark wall, so we decided to wrap it with this darker blue color. Initially, we didn't want it to do this, blacking out the windows, because I bought acoustic curtains, and the initial thinking was, well, the acoustic curtains will keep the light out. But foolish from me thinking that, because then soonly I realize, and as you will see in future episodes when we talk about building the stage, the cove, the green screen cove, the stage and the supports are not at the ceiling height. So there's a gap in between the stage and the ceiling, and the windows are taller than that. So we had to, at the end of the day, black out the windows. To me, aesthetically, is not the most pleasing thing, but in the same time, I think it's more about function than form in a sense. But I don't think it looks bad. There's a lot of black accents in here, and having those windows blacked out, you don't notice it that bad. The only downside is we don't have a lot of natural light in here because of the blackout. We can remove the blackout and get some light in here, but so far we didn't. But as I mentioned in the previous episode, we don't live in a perfect world here in Brighton. We don't have a lot of amazing locations suitable for a studio. But in a perfect world, I would have had this studio, which is 600 square foot as an area. I would have had a green room and kind of like a reception, a lounge area. I would have also had like a bigger kit room. Potentially, I would have had a lot of the servers in a completely different room. So, my perfect world looks very similar to Socially You setup. So check out their videos. There's a couple of tours out there, but they have quite a bigger space in my eyes. I don't know if in theirs is still a big space. So limited space-wise, we have a smaller room next to the studio, which initially I was thinking is going to be fully kit room. So that's going to be the kit room. That's where we're going to arrange everything, all of our equipment and such. The initial plan was to have the makeup and wardrobe makeshift area here. We quickly realized that would further restrict our space here. So we decided to split the other room into a big chunk of being the kit room, and then about 2 meters by 2 meters being the makeup and the wardrobe room. I think it works pretty well. It's an okay space to have talent and also have a makeup artist in there. If you have multiple people, multiple actors, or multiple people that need to be on stage and need to do makeup and change and so on, we also have the option to bring a green room van and park it just outside the studio door, and then you have more space. We spent a bit of time to figure out how to position in the kit room because we have so much kit. The best solution was a couple of metal shelves on the sides, which will have a lot of our smaller equipment. And then we wind up building these sturdy 2 very large shelves in the back. And the reason why was because I realized we have a lot of travel cases, a lot of our lenses, cameras, gimbals, and a lot of things that have bigger travel cases. And what we wind up doing is just shoving everything at the beginning in the back wall there, and it would make it pretty impossible to pull things out. So we put 2 massive shelves with L brackets, like super sturdy L brackets, and now we have plenty of space to just nicely arrange travel cases in there. The next step with that will be to label everything and to have everything a bit more arranged. And that being said, me thinking that, I was already worried at the beginning that it might not be enough space. And that worry was actually valid because we wind up at the end of the day hiring a storage unit very close nearby, categorizing stuff that we need in the studio full time versus stuff that we don't need that often and can exist in a storage unit and picked up from the storage unit whenever we need it. So that's what we wind up doing, and that's why this place looks so neat and clean and, in a sense, minimalist when it comes to equipment that's in here. So now that we sorted the area, the production area, painted, done the flooring, done the kit room, the next step was to figure out our furniture in here. Basically desks, because this is also our office, right? It's our studio, and when we're not shooting is our daily office. The chairs we got were they're quite nice, leathery look brown, and they fit really well with the space. We got 2 desks. The reason why 2 was one for the virtual production work, and then the other one for editing, grading. Okay, so you asked me how the desks are and if I like them. I love them. Maybe 3 main reasons why I do. You can attach them together with this latch. And that brings me to the second reason why I love these, is it has like super big wheels and this just slides. So you can move it anywhere. Now, third reason, and actually probably the coolest, these desks are foldable. And it snaps into place next to the wall, and you have more space here. Because we want to make this as welcoming as possible, and because I like my chilled drinks and my snacks, we got a fridge that stores all of our drinks in there, and actually fits really nicely in the little hole there in the kitchenette. We also set up a tea and coffee station. And also, let's not forget about our LED sign. You can't have a studio, you can't have a hip studio, and I'm old, I just said hip. You can't have a studio without an LED, colored LED with your logo. And I have no idea what else to say about it, except for the part that it just adds a vibe to this place. So yeah, that's it for this episode. I'm having a bit of a giggle here. So stay tuned for episode 3 coming soon. You better subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Very important. One of the most critical pieces in this whole studio, and one that we had to learn the hard way, let's put it like that. Building a green screen stage. We'll tell you all about it, how we made it work, how it failed, and what we're doing to it next. So I'll see you in the next episode.